2,600 days ago, God of War released one of the greatest reboots in video game history. And yet, it wasn't until 4 years later that it would come to PC, revealing an insane Easter egg. During the fight with Baldur, every player sees this. However, people discovered that if you went out of bounds using a free cam, you'd find Baldur perfectly alive and flipping us off. The moment I saw this, I knew I wanted to investigate other Easter eggs that took years to find. And that immediately led me to The Witcher 3. Now, this game is 10 years old, and it wasn't until 2024 that one of its most hidden secrets was discovered. The developer CD Projekt Red had placed a propaganda recruitment ad underneath the map, but when players found it, it was a little too late. Looking at it, it's obviously a parody of Uncle Sam, but some players actually think this was a way to recruit game testers. After all, you need to be good at finding glitches to even discover this artwork. Clearly though, no one was good enough, at least not for 9 years. But some Easter eggs are hiding in plain sight, like Spider-Man 2000's tutorial secret. Yeah, what I'm about to show you was literally in the opening of the game, and yet it wasn't discovered until 21 years later. In 2021, a player named Javinci uploaded a video where they claimed they had found a secret door. Right there, staring you in the face, is the team who made the game. However, if you try this for yourself, you might actually see a different photo. Turns out that on versions like PC, the devs who ported the game will appear instead.
Nice.
But hey, at least it was discovered by a player, because some Easter eggs are so difficult to find, the devs have to straight up leak them. When Fallout 4 released in 2015, it was full of secrets, including this underground bunker across the river. And inside, you'd find a door locked behind a keypad. Now, players quickly found their way in because it uses the most famous 4-digit code in gaming, 0451. This shows up in so many games because it was originally the real door code to the offices of Looking Glass Studios. Anyway, this one was super easy to solve. And inside, people found, well, a super dead guy and a powerful revolver called the Gainer. Everything had gone smoothly up to this point, but now Easter egg hunters were staring at this place with confusion. No one knew what it meant. Some thought it was a Fahrenheit 451 reference, others thought it was Red Skull from Marvel. But this wouldn't get solved until 2019. Joel Burgess, the lead level designer, went on social media and revealed its hidden meaning. Turns out, that skeleton is a reference to Snatcher, a super old Kojima game.
Dear God.
But what about that weapon you pick up? Well, it turns out this would have never been solved by players because it was actually a personal Easter egg. The Gainer was left for Joel's friend to find, another developer named Steve, who apparently loves video game magnums. And somehow, even GTA 5 has secrets that took forever to find. When the game dropped in 2013, everyone immediately started sharing the fact that Bigfoot was on the map. You could find him in the forest sometimes, and there was even a chance you get to play as him by eating a peyote plant. Except, we were so focused on Bigfoot existing that we didn't realize there was a whole nother level to this thing. It wouldn't be until 3 years later that people discovered golden peyote plants, which only spawn in snowy weather between 5 and 8 a.m. Now, if you managed to eat all 7 of these around the map, you'd unlock a secret mission that nobody knew about. Bigfoot versus Teen Wolf. Yeah, this was a reference to Teen Wolf, which took so long to find that technically he isn't even a teenager anymore. He would have turned 20 years old by the time someone found this. Although, there's an Easter egg that was so hard to find that the devs had to step in and give us a clue. In Batman Arkham City, there was a secret tease for the next game that nobody even knew existed. This is when the developers straight up made an undercover YouTube account called JG Jor, aka Julian Gregory Day, the name of the supervillain Calendar Man. They uploaded one video simply called Arkham City Secret, and that's all it was, a clue. But from here, the community was able to solve it. They realized if you turned your console's date all the way back to 2004 and then talked to Calendar Man on December 13th, the day that Rocksteady was founded, you'd hear this.
Well, well, well. And on today of all days, do you remember my early work? Flawed, but it showed promise. Days were the secret, Batman, and the end of days is coming. I was there at your beginning, and I will be there at your end.
Not only was this a teaser for the next game, but it was the developers talking directly to us through Calendar Man, asking if we remember their early work, and confirming they'll still be here to end the franchise with Arkham Knight. And another dev who had to step in and help us was with Titanfall 2. 6 years had passed since the game dropped, and one of the developers was shocked nobody had found a certain Easter egg. So they went straight to Twitter saying, "This is the only hint I'm giving, and even then, I hope it doesn't give it away instantly." I booted up the game, loaded the closest checkpoint, go to the place, repeated a certain action a lot, and bam, open sesame. And it turns out, this clue did give it away instantly. Within just 16 hours, someone had already found it. Inside of the campaign, there was a security door that had been sealed shut for 6 years. Now, pretty much everyone had walked past this thing assuming it was just decoration. But then some genius players decided to time travel in front of it 88 times. Judging from the number, you can already tell that this is a subtle Back to the Future reference. But it also means you gotta sit here doing this for like over a minute straight, so it kinda makes sense nobody found it. But after that tedious task, you finally get to see what's inside. A room with 2 skeletons recreating a scene from the movie Time Cop.
Have a nice day.
Still wasn't as hidden as the Easter egg in Saints Row 2 that took an entire 12 years to appear. During development, the devs wanted to add a secret to freak people out, but before the game released, this actually got scrapped. So, obviously nobody found it, and it wasn't until data miners added a single line of code into the files that we got our first look. But what about when an Easter egg is so important to gaming history it has to be found? Well, in 2002, TimeSplitters 2 released, and fans have been waiting decades for a remaster. There are almost no PC ports out there, especially ones that work on modern-day computers. And it's a pretty important game. Yet, that's what it turned out. There was a native 4K PC port sitting on our computers this whole time. In 2021, one of the devs behind Homefront: The Revolution confessed that he included the entirety of TimeSplitters 2 inside of the files. So, why did it take so long for people to find it? Well, the developer actually forgot the password and couldn't unlock the game. It took a team of hackers just a few days to reverse engineer the code, and they were able to finally unlock the game after 2 decades. Oh, and back in GTA 5, we all know how hard it is to truly get to the bottom of the ocean. Well, after 5 years of trying, Robin Rams used a car to glitch to the seabed. And once he was down here, he went into a free cam and discovered this mysterious cube. All that was on it were the words, "This does not exist."
Huh?
I honestly can't believe we didn't know about this sooner. It really makes you wonder what else is hiding in this game. Well, if you go to the Opium Knights Hotel near the airport and glance at the door's reflection during the evening, you'll see Liberty City from GTA 4. This one is seriously so cool and somehow wasn't found for an entire decade. And while we're on the topic of airports, did you know Family Guy Back to the Multiverse had an entire level set in one? And since this was back in 2012, no one really paid much attention to it. It wasn't until fans went back to the game for a trip of nostalgia that they realized, wait a second, this is the airport from No Russian. Sure, this may be based on an actual airport in real life, but Family Guy specifically used the layout from Call of Duty. Over in Mass Effect 3, a developer decided to hide a very small Easter egg inside the game. He waited and waited for someone to find it, but what he didn't realize is that they'd be waiting for an entire decade. So he went straight to Reddit, drawing a diagram of where to go and how to unlock the Easter egg. If you followed his instructions on Mars, you'd be able to see this adorable little rover. Now, somehow players found this next secret in Black Ops 3 without any help, even though it took 4 years to discover. In the starting level of Dreisendrach, partially repair every window with 2 boards. Next, you gotta buy an RK5 off the wall and place another 2 boards on every single window. Now you gotta buy a Shiva and build a final plank on the windows. It is finally time for the last step. Buy the RK5 back and unlock the first door. As you walk out, this secret photo will appear. This is a personal tribute left by a developer to his family, with him saying, "It's not a memorial, everyone is still alive and well." This secret was never meant to be found by the public. In fact, players only discovered this because they went into the files. And one of the greatest ways that Easter egg has been found was in Wind Waker. Fishwaffle64 was fighting the final boss in the Forbidden Forest, and thankfully she was live streaming when she decided to experiment with water.
We're gonna try to pour forest water on first cycle and see what happens. If it makes do damage or something. Wow!
Wow, it killed him.
It killed it! Holy cow!
Yeah, it's not often you find an Easter egg after 14 years by total accident, not to mention while streaming. But there's a secret of Futurama which took even longer. The PS2 game released in 2003, and it wasn't found until 16 years later in 2019. Now, you're probably wondering, why did it take so long? Well, it was insanely complex. I mean, you had to go to the boiler room, smash fire glass, get money out of a drawer, earn exactly $7, and then smash a TV. After all of that, you'd get... yeah, a literal Easter egg. And 2 years before that, we had an old jet ski game called Wave Race Blue Storm. And this thing had some crazy secrets that weren't uncovered until leakers dug into the code a decade later. They discovered mysterious MP3 files and realized that if you went into the game's menu and entered the Konami code, your next race would be shocking.
Is that the best you can do? Weak.
Sadly, you might spend years of your life trying to solve a mystery, and it doesn't always go the way you want. And Super Mario 64 is home to one of the longest-running secrets in gaming history. This door that couldn't be opened. You could only exit the cabin after jumping in the roof, and then you'd be locked out forever. Now, normally no one would really care, but every door in the game opens both ways except this one. And after almost 30 years, the community worked together to open it to see if they could explore the cabin in a different way. Once they finally got it working and opened it up, nothing was inside. However, fans didn't care. They were just insanely happy to get it open, something players 30 years ago thought was impossible. But now we gotta talk about Halo 5. This game was hiding an insane secret that no one knew about for 6 years. One of the devs went to Twitter and claimed that he had put a Halo Kart co-op racing mode inside of the campaign. Now, obviously this sounded amazing, so the community rushed to find it. Yet, for some reason, they still couldn't figure it out. So this made the dev post again with even more clues, and he even turned a hint into a poem. Players immediately rushed back in, figured out the steps, and finally unlocked Halo Kart.
3, 2, 1, go!
And those were video game Easter eggs that took years to solve. It's been Sammy. Keep it here on T5G.